Happy daylight saving time, everyone. This week has been very difficult. To everyone who also has a pet, I see you.
Hey, Guy. I'm really enjoying that terrible music you're playing on your speakerphone while we're trying to enjoy nature.
I'm really enjoying, actually, for real, the neighbors selling pupusas on the corner.
I just had a matcha latte on tap with pistachio milk. Sarah, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh, we really aren't, Heather, but we're going to have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome back.
To have such a good day. The show that wants you to do just that. Woo.
Episode.
Here we are.
Episode 230. Come on now. Come on now. You can't say we didn't try.
Hey, y'all out there.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah. How is it going?
Welcome to the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment.
And we're going to be absurd as F.
We are going to unpack the absurdity of all the shit. Let me tell you, wait till we get into it. You are going to be reeling, really. Seriously.
If we do our jobs, you will reel. You will recoil in horror, in fact. Who even knows? Who even knows what's happening?
Or you might jump up for joy. I don't know. We'll see. It's still too early to tell. We're both actually in the same city currently.
Yeah, so Heather,
it's kind of exciting.
I feel like people should know what that means, because if you don't live in LA, you don't even, sort of realize how big the city is and how far it is to even see your friends if you all live there at the same time. But you and I are both here. We haven't seen each other. We're going to.
Nope.
But
I've been stalking you, of course.
Well,
obviously.
You always have. But
I know what you're wearing, Sarah.
but tell us more about why you're here, what's happening.
Well, I'm in an Airbnb, and I have the special aspect of my Airbnb is it's a very small space. I would say that it's a studio. So it's one big room, but they got creative with the window situation because there's no windows other than a big garage door. Yes, literally, it's a garage door that rolls up. And it is an actual garage door with it's not like some faux garage door. It's legit. It looks like a car could just drive in, but apparently it's never been a garage. That's what the guy told me. It has cement floor, and you would sort of think that maybe it was previously a garage, but it's just a really cool space. And you can open this garage door. It's really easy to open, and it looks out onto the canyon. And I'm in Beechwood Canyon, so across the way is just a really cool hill of houses.
Yeah.
And it's a great view. They called it jaw-dropping in the Airbnb title, which I thought was a little, maybe a little hyperbolic. But Sarah, if I yell out there, maybe it would echo all the way down. Here's the thing. Sarah isn't that far. I'm below the Hollywood sign.
You're basically due north of me.
Yeah. I'm right below the Hollywood sign, and I'm pretty central, I'm just above Hollywood. Sarah is, south of me. We will be getting together at some point, and no, it's good to be here. It's a really kind of nice and sunny yet mild LA weather this week. It's not too hot. It's actually not hot, but it's warm enough during the day that you can kind of walk around with a t-shirt. But it's still very mild, still kind of early spring kind of thing. But yeah, so I'm looking at apartments and stalking Sarah, obviously. I saw you and Oat this morning. I saw what you guys did. No, really. It's been about almost 3.5 years since I lived in this very canyon actually down the road. And also lived in a place called Echo Park, where Sarah and I both lived in that neighborhood for kind of a short period. And I went and scoped it out yesterday because I was looking at some places, and boy, has has it changed over there? There's, it's sort of inevitable, when you find a nice place, it is going to get overrun by gentrification and developers coming in and creating really modern looking ticky-tacky, cookie cutter, whatever you want to call it, places because they need more housing.
Yeah.
And so it sort of takes away from like the authenticity, especially of an enclave like Echo Park that's like kind of gritty. It's very urban. It's very East LA. But yeah, this area that I was looking in, I just couldn't believe how sort of almost like commercial or gimmicky it's gotten. And I was a little sad to see it.
And I think, anybody would say that about gentrification, right?
Absolutely.
In general, is like, oh man, it used to be better.
And
there are other people who are like, oh no, now it's better. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And like, I think, so basically I went and looked at, there's 3 buildings that are like, one is kind of New York brick, exposed brick style. And then there's another one that's like Spanish style. And then this other one that's modern. And they're all owned by the same property management company. I didn't know that until I got there. So the one guy that I was supposed to meet to see that the exposed brick building took me around to his other buildings for availability. And he told me that the whole block is owned by one company, which means all the retail spaces down below are owned by them. Oh, so it starts to feel a little less, because I remember that whole block being really authentic. It was like, small business owners and, with these little shops. And, it's now managed by this overarching corporation or whatever. Look, it's just the way of the world, right? Or maybe, maybe I'm just getting older. I don't know. And I'm just seeing the changes happening. It's like a lot of those sort of apartments that have gyms and, communal spaces on the roof, they've got that cafe downstairs serving fancy pistachio milk lattes, and it's like this, it has this kind of, it's the modern world, I guess. It's the modern gentrified world. And what am I to expect, But I do really, I'm actually switching up some of my searching, and I really want a cool place with some classic LA charm, Like I don't know if I'd feel comfortable in a cookie cutter, spot. Oh. I do like where I'm staying right now. I think this is the neighborhood that's one of my favorites. I like that you're kind of tucked away. When you go into some of these East LA enclaves, you're kind of exposed, and it can be noisy and busy. But one thing I like about these canyons is sort of the neighborhoodness, the residentialness of it. Even though you could probably hear maybe some engines going around me, and if you do, I apologize, but I do have the big garage door open currently. So yeah, and I've been walking the canyons like a fiend. I walked up to the Hollywood sign yesterday. I love all the like curvy canyon roads, and listening to my podcasts. I've got some self-helpy stuff kind of queued up right now to get me motivated for this next stage of life, y'all. I'm feeling good. This has been a good kind of retreat, canyon life.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, I know how much you're, kind of taking care of the family business sometimes is a slog.
Yes.
For you to be here and be like, I love it. It's fun. I went to Erewhon today.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff is I think sometimes you just have to let yourself have some fun.
Yeah, and I think also it was my place in terms of like, yeah, like my parents didn't live here. This was my experience. This is where my world was. I've lived in other cities too. But there's just my old stomping ground, and I actually, what I love about the canyons is, a lot of people are hiking. There's a lot of locals, and they're walking their dogs. And I kind of stopped to pet dogs sometimes because they'll just come right up to you, and then you start talking to the owners. And very friendly neighborhood. I think the sunshine and obviously this is some good living makes people happy, and they're friendly.
It does.
And
indeed,
I ended up talking to this woman who she was scoping out. There was this crazy beehive like up in this kind of a cement wall going up to. There's kind of this weird looking castle place, very old Hollywood, that Madonna used to live in the very beginnings of time. Very, very long time ago, I think with Sean Penn or something. Anyway, it's just this weird castle thing on top of this hill, and there's this big wall, and there was this huge beehive, and this woman was taking pictures, and I started talking to her, and like the conversation just got really philosophical and deep, like really fast, I find it so funny, like, you know, you usually talk about the weather or maybe sports, like something just real sort of casual fare. You know, when you talk to a stranger, I don't even know this woman. She kind of dove into this sort of, you know, life, you know, kind of thing. And it was kind of a cool, odd connection. She was a lot older than I am. And kind of made me feel a little bit more like, you know, stable in my life in a way, you know, like just this kind of odd, you know, stranger connection of someone you do not know. And it's like, you don't have a lot of context, but sometimes that's good, you know? So, cause it's sort of, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but sometimes it's nice to have that as opposed to someone who knows you so well. And it's like, you're just saying the same thing over and over and it's lost all its meaning. You know what I mean?
Well, going back to, you know, obviously me eating street food in my neighborhood, which, by the way, my neighborhood is great for that. You want a tamale? You got tamales. They're real cheap.
Are they cooking them right on the corner? Like, can you smell them all day long?
No, they're walking down the street with the tamales in a trunk
with like a little bell or something.
Like, it's tamale time. Yeah, exactly. But so tamale, all good. Mm-hmm. I love a good tamale.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
But when sometimes, you know, like over the weekend, you know, kind of stuff where I'm not clubbing anymore. So like I'm walking my dog, you know, maybe 10 p.m. would be, you know, the latest time I'd be out. Mm-hmm. You know, but just, you know, let's do one more lap and then, you know, go blissfully into sleep. But so my neighbors who are, I mean, you guys don't know where I live and that's fine. But like, if you go like to the right, to the left, down another block, that's where the pupusa people are. And if you are not familiar with pupusas, they're wonderful, just lovely, kind of almost like what would I compare them to? Like almost like an Italian cheese-filled, I don't know. Anyway, pupusas are great.
They are.
So my neighbors, first time I saw them, I was like, oh, like, hi, I'm your neighbor. And they were like, yeah, whatever. We don't care. You know, next time I went around, I was like, how much? And they were like, $2. And I'm like, I will get 2. You know, $4. That's a very nice meal. You know, and since then, now, like, I just come down there and I'm like, do you guys need help? Do you want me to help you with your pupusa situation going on? Sorry, there's also obviously a fire situation. That's my neighborhood. But yes. Oh man, I love the hustle of like okay, you know, we got pupusas or we've got tamales, whatever we've got. We're just going to like hole up on the corner, let people come by and give them food.
Nice.
Love it.
I love it. So what kind of pupusas do you get? Like, what are your favorite?
Usually I just go like straight cheese.
Nice.
Cheese and cheese and
cheese, just like full on cheese.
Well, like cheese and pepper.
That sounds good.
Which is not unlike a chili relleno kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've been totally leaning into the LA, kind of bougie hippie fare. I've always liked my hippie food, Sarah. It tracks way back to, I think, my early, 20s or something. I've just always liked a good, brown rice roll or whatever, a brown rice bowl. But yeah,
roll bowl, all good.
Yes. And my green juices and my smoothies and stuff. And, obviously LA is like filled to the brim with places like this, very overpriced. But, I try to just like enjoy it while I can. So for the rest of the week, I'm actually moving out of this place tomorrow morning. And I'm moving over to a hotel in Silver Lake, which, we'll have to meet up. I'm going to be there till Monday. So I'll be there through the weekend. And in fact, I think I'm going to be a stone's throw from one of those, the Ear One over there on Sunset, which is very dangerous, let me tell you. So I'm just going to continue my search. I mean, I cooled off on it today because I don't know. I felt like slightly discouraged yesterday, honestly, because of all the kind of corporate-y places that I saw and sort of just thinking about like how often realistically would I be getting down here, and is it worth paying rent on a place every month, even if I'm not here every month? It's an investment. It's an investment in my future. But I've been trying to just see places and make phone calls as much as I can. I mean, I do not think I'm signing any papers this week. I really don't. I don't think that's happening. But at least I'm, I don't have to rush it. Like I can come back down in a couple months and do it again and kind of sleep on it, that kind of thing. But it's nice to see what's out there and, make these connections and, I guess it's sort of a work in progress, but aren't we all? And speaking of actually works in progress, it's funny. I've started to listen to some podcasts that never crossed my desk, and people have been sending me episodes of these particular podcasts. And one of them is, I can't decide if I like it or not because it has a little bit of a motivational speaker, like self-helpy vibe to it.
Okay.
But it's also like very like cutting edge modern. Like she talks about a lot of really interesting things, in relation to just being human in this modern world. And so it's super interesting, and it's all very backed by science and math and, all the things and stats and stuff like that. So it's not some like, soft, therapy session. It's more like, kind of academic, I guess. But it's funny because I don't even really want to talk about it because I don't know, like I'm not a huge fan of the self-help world, but I sometimes think there's certain times in life that it does help bolster you. And, you and I were talking last week about being a morning person and sort of having this certain kind of energy to start the day in the morning. Well, lately I've been a little like slower in the morning, and I'm not like, I can't say that I'm springing up like super excited for the day or like, have a whole plan like laid out for like my development of like how do I make the best out of my day, let's maximize my time. And I think part of the problem is I don't have a rigid schedule or routine. I'm working for myself. I've got my own business and I have to make my own deadlines. And sometimes it's just hard. It's hard to make myself do stuff sometimes, and I'm a motivated person, Sarah.
I do. Yeah.
But lately it's been a little bit of a struggle. And I think, maybe I'm just dipping down a little bit before I dip back up. You know how that goes, but
the whole sort of work for yourself, do your thing, and also handle things that affect other people. That is really hard. I never did that until 2018, 2017. You know, I always just had a job.
Yeah.
You know, you pay me, I do my job. That's what I do. I often, you know, I hearken back to those times and be like, that would have been so much better. Like, why don't I just like get a job and do the job, you know, and have
be
health
told what to do.
benefits. Yeah, and be a worker bee. You know, I you know, sometimes people are like, well, you know, like big picture. And I think, Heather, you and I are a little bit different in that way. Like, I want to like show up on time. You tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll do it well, and then I leave. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about big picture shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm just happy to be alive at this point. I'm 47 years old. Fuck everyone.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I can tell you what to do more often if you'd like. But I'm happy to do the big picture thinking. No, it's really like, I really do think we are a good team in that way, because I do really like the above the line stuff. Like, I even noticed with my sister, I started to do this exercise, which I do think helps. Sometimes I have to kind of sit down and write out like things maybe accomplishments I made in the last year, 5 years, to kind of remind myself of all the things I do. And because I again, like, I'm just like ambitious and I want to do a lot of great things, and it's never enough in my eyes. Yeah. But I did this exercise this morning where I just kind of wrote out like the interesting things that have happened in the last year. And it has been a really great year, 2023, really more specifically. But I was thinking a little bit more about how bizarre it is, surreal really, that I'm like working with my sister. I would have never in a million trillion years ever thought that in my life I would actually be like paired up with my sister to run a business. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but like her and I are very different.
Just you're different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like just the kind of world I come from and the world she comes from are just so vastly different. And, you know, there's certain ways that we think that are very similar, and then there's other ways that are very different. And it can be hard to navigate. But I also find it to be so creatively inspiring. Like, it makes me want to write the story about me and my sister, like a narrative. Like, I want to talk about how we grew up together. We didn't get along most of the time. We got along when we were kind of young, but we, like I've mentioned before, I think we had these little imaginary worlds where we were two rich business women, like saving the world and writing each other checks because it was my mom's old checkbook, just stupid imaginary worlds that you create as a kid.
Kids do these things.
Yeah. And it was fun because we had these long summers. We didn't know what to do with our time. We were just trying to be creative. And now, like, fast forward the movie, and like, we're actually working together. We're actually writing big checks. We're actually under a lot of like adult running a business as an adult stress. And I just think it's such a interesting turn of events. There really are a lot of things out of your control in this life, and
very much.
It's pretty wild. And I think maybe that is part of it, is where I think as we get older, we want to control more. It feels good to be in control. Then you don't have to be blindsided by or sideswiped, but you gotta just kind of let go. You gotta let go and let things kind of fall as they will, on some level, because I don't know, there's only so much control that you have. So I'm learning things, Sarah. during my canyon walks. I'm learning a lot. So,
well, I mean, Heather and I, we've been through the ringer in many situations, and I'm so glad to, like, even though you and I haven't seen each other physically, because you got here yesterday.
Yeah.
We will.
Yes.
And it's going to be so fun. And, thanks to everybody else just, coming along for the ride of all of our
journey.
All of our, yes,
our ups, our
trials,
downs,
our tribulations, our ups and downs. We do appreciate it. But speaking of appreciating things, Heather, I know that on Sunday it was the Oscars, and I had a great time. I wanted to ask you what you thought about it.
Yeah, I actually thought it was definitely a wholesome event. It didn't go too far afield. It didn't get too political. I mean, there were a few qualms that I had with, it's really tough because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world. It's hard sometimes to watch a celebration of.
Sometimes it's hard to keep all that stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. But one of my favorite moments was, one of the things I did miss was the Ken dance. I'm going to have to revisit that on YouTube. I walked out to make dinner at that point. But I really loved the way they had the previous nominees come up, or the previous winners come up to sort of highlight the next nominee with their award. I thought that was kind of a neat, unboring way to do it. And I thought Nicolas Cage, his comment about Paul Giamatti, his commitment to the lazy eye in The Holdovers. If you haven't seen that movie, it might not mean anything to you. And he said, would I have done that? Hell yes. I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan. He'll do anything. The craziest thing you could ever imagine he's already done. And I thought that was very funny. I also enjoyed a lot of the Poor Things awards. And I thought Jimmy Kimmel did a pretty good job. I like he's really good with the wordplay, and I thought it was a fun little romp, and it ended by 7:30, so it was kind of perfect.
I thought so too. Yeah. Had a great time. But sort of going back to before the show started, Heather was like, how are you going to watch this? And I was like, YouTube TV. And she's like, can I do that? I'm like, I think you could sign up for a month and then cancel or keep it.
Yeah.
That's what these streaming services want you to at least try us out. Worked out well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do think that, I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by that. I really I thought the YouTube TV was an easy thing to, how sometimes you start a service and then you're like, it's hard to kind of,
and where's my channel?
Yeah, where's the app? I can't find it. I can't log in.
Right.
I'm having, authentication issues or whatever, but it was very smooth. And they even followed up. They were like, welcome to YouTube TV, Heather Frank. How can we help you?
No, I mean, yeah, they're going to do that. But no, I will tell you, I mean, anybody who is like, I'd like to cut the cord, what are my options?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, depends on what you're looking for. You really want to cut it, or do you want a cable alternative?
Yeah.
If you want that, YouTube TV.
So let me ask you this though, with your subscription, do you have commercials, or do you buy the commercial-free, the ad-free version?
No. YouTube TV has commercials.
Yeah, that's what I thought. See, I'm not into it. I don't think I'm going to keep it, because I looked around. I'm like, ooh, AMC. Some of the more FX. There's some channels on there that I would be interested in watching.
What is good about it is that it's basically a big. It's a cable alternative.
Yeah, totally.
But, where you have just a bunch of access.
Yeah.
But you have to you want to watch Jeopardy, you're going to watch commercials. Between Jeopardy, and Final Jeopardy. It's definitely just aping real, old cable.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. No, totally. It is. And it's funny because after I downloaded it, I was telling my sister, because my sister still has cable and she just can't get herself to kind of evolve into this streaming world
to cut
the cord. And I feel like it would be, I swear I would bet $1 million that if she did, she'd be like, I cannot believe it took me so long. Like it's so much easier. I don't get it.
So much easier.
It drives me nuts. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to keep
it. Everybody's got their, sometimes you're in your lane.
This is true.
so to speak. I mean, when my mom moved over to YouTube TV, she was on like, I don't even know what she had. I don't know, something that was like really expensive. Mm-hmm. It was like $200 a month, where I'm like, for cable, Mom? Like, what are you even watching?
That's crazy.
She's like 3 channels, like nothing. So, it can really give people a respite on their monthly bill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get taking that, you kind of have to take a leap when you're so used to cable and you're not super like tech savvy. I get it. I get the fear. But I feel like the longer you avoid it, the harder it's going to get for you, I think, because things are going to continue to evolve and then you're going to get more lost and I just worry for people who don't understand how some of these things work. And I think it's only going to get harder. But I have to be very aware of the accounts that I have, because then I end up having too many. Like I'm even considering canceling Sirius Satellite because they always try to up your monthly, and then I'm like, I don't even listen to Howard Stern, and that's really what you're paying for, and all of these things. Right, and so I have to I have to create these lists, like make sure to cancel this, make sure to renew this, make sure to, by this date, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so I guess sort of the last thing I wanted to talk about, Sarah, I thought this could be a fun conversation. There was an article recently on the New York Times. It was actually quite long. I listened to it. I was like, I don't even think I finished it. It was crazy long.
So it was like a podcast.
It was an actual article. You can, but you can actually,
on
New York Times, gotcha. You can either read it or you hit play and listen to it. This just seemed like an article that I would just listen to. It was about why pants are so big right now. And I just thought this would be fun because, we are 80s kids.
Why?
Just
are
why?
They so big?
90s is obviously very much in right now. The 90s
it's very much in.
Fashion, the like small slit sunglasses, the big pants, the belts, and Sarah, you and I are small people. We're two little people. I've said this many times on the show before. For us, it doesn't take a village. It takes 2 small and mighty chickadees. But I don't love this huge pants thing because they don't look good on me. In fact, I hate the way they look on me. I do not look good in huge pants. And I've tried them. And I've tried the kind of more tailored big pants, which is sort of an oxymoron. But I was at sort of my favorite shop, and there's these sort of, it's hard to explain. They have like they're kind of fitted at the top like a high waist, but then they kind of balloon out and then they taper. I looked like a clown.
Oh God, ballooning out and then tapering. I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
Just hearing about that does not sound
chills.
Good.
But yeah, they're so in right now. It's not fair. I'm kind of a skinny jeans girl. They just look better on me. But I wanted to unpack this because it fashion is so interesting to me in terms of what's going on in society and the world. So I think maybe coming off of the pandemic, this is just my only sort of my only theory is that in the pandemic, we all went to sweats. into yoga pants, something comfortable. And so after the pandemic, nobody wanted to squeeze their butts into tight, uncomfortable, skinny jeans. And so that's what brought this trend back around, is people are wanting to stay on a little bit of a comfort tip. And so they thought, well, let's make denim less skinny.
I think there's something to that. I also think, oh man. So Heather and I are, we're 2 years apart. We're essentially the same age, 90s kids. Mm-hmm. The idea that 90s is a retro thing now still just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Where I'm but what? But when I think about it, in 1991, what was I wearing? I was wearing my boyfriend's very large sweatshirt, and I don't know, I guess jeans.
Super cute when we were young.
Big jeans, and then maybe weird clogs. I don't know. What the fuck
definitely
was I
weird
doing?
clogs.
Yeah. But that was that whole sort of big, but also, cute thing. We've done this.
Oh, yeah.
Heather and I have already done
We've
this.
been there, done that.
We've been there. We've done it. And, to kind of figure out what's the retro style is so weird to me. Mm-hmm. Because I'm I will wear large things. Mm. That would be fine. But if I want to be I don't know, 90s retro, hot girl, I don't even fucking know what I'm doing.
We're not trying to talk about being older, quote unquote, on this show too often,
No.
because that would just be eh. But the midlife thing it does sort of.
It's real.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating, really. And when you think about how you just sort of duck out. I think you just, as you get older, you don't care so much. You don't need to be on trend. You don't need to be keep up with the Joneses as much, No,
you're tired. You are goddamn tired. You're, I can't tell you how many times I'm so those people are fighting? Aren't they tired?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, let's just be zen and maybe have some aloe plants.
Yeah, maybe we can all just get along. How about that? How about that? How about that
Exactly.
idea? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's a good one.
I do think that that you do you out there. If you like a big baggy balloon pant, I'm sure it looks great on you. But it's times sure are changing, Sarah Lane, and
they are
just sort of kind of, I got sideswiped by it. I didn't anticipate it, and it just happened. And you know what? It's okay. I'm along for the ride. All right. So on that note, I'm actually I'm getting the skinny on the real estate market down here in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of these little fringy, Craigslist-y places where you can look for very specific listings. And I actually went way back into my email from this woman who had these really cool kind of classic LA apartments, kind of down in Mid-City, kind of West Hollywood area. And I rented from her before. So I keep that information just in case maybe I'll need it down the line. And I did. And it was pretty cool, actually. I found some spots. I gave her a little ringy ding, and I'm going to meet up with her and see what she's got. It's good to make connections throughout life, Sarah, because you never know when they're going to come in handy.
Heather, I agree. 100%. But yeah, so what have you been loving since you've been here?
Great question. I really do love the weather. It's like I came from so La Nina, if y'all don't know about that, it has caused an incredible amount of rain in Northern California. I mean, also the Bay Area has been pretty wet. And I know for LA, this was a very wet winter also. But relatively speaking, I mean, I think we had felt like 3 months of rain. It just was sort of nonstop. And when I left, I flew out in the rain. It was pouring rain when I left. I even when I got out of the car, I mean, it was raining so hard that I brought just a leather jacket to LA because you don't need a puffy jacket here. I just needed kind of I mean, it gets chilly at night. I think I needed more than a
just
jean
something,
jacket.
a layer.
Yeah. But I brought it's kind of like a suede jacket actually. And I didn't want to wear it. So I wore a puffy to the airport. And then I got out of the car out in front of the airport and I threw my puffy jacket at my boyfriend. And then he threw me my leather jacket, so that I could stay under the overhang, They're just like, oh my God, I have to swap jackets. This is ridiculous. And I'm just over it. No. So I'm super happy to not have rain and just
get you a man who will swap the puff.
Right. But no, I think my favorite part, I love the canyons. I just absolutely love the vibe. It smells so good. The jasmine is blooming.
The jasmine is out of control right now.
It's wonderful. And I like the sounds, and I other than the urban sounds, I do like I just love the hilly enclave vibe. I'm perched up on this hill. There's something about a good perch that I could sit here all day and just look at this view.
Gotta love a perch.
Yeah. Gotta love it. I'm actually having dinner with somebody who I'm working on a documentary I've mentioned, and I am meeting him for dinner tonight. We're doing a little bit of work, but something really fun. So we're going to do some planning for April because I have to come back down in a month to do a shoot with this documentary with the artist who's coming out from Denmark. And I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of kick off this project. I could really use something like this to kind of immerse my head into. But yesterday, as I was walking East Side, Sarah Lane, guess what I saw?
What?
A whole wall papered with the movie that I did, the Sasquatch Sunset. So that was kind of cool to see. Yeah.
How weird.
I know, it was cool.
Were you like, oh my God, what the hell?
Well, okay, I would have been, but the director already posted the same footage. I didn't know where it was.
So you knew where it was.
No, I didn't actually. Yeah. I didn't know exactly, but
you didn't.
I assumed it was East Side because it kind of looked East Side, but it could have been anywhere really. But I think it's where he took the photo, but I could be wrong. It's actually across the street from Irwan in Silver Lake. So that was neat just to kind of see it IRL, and it's coming out next month. I will keep y'all posted if you want to go see it in theaters where you are. Hopefully it'll be, I don't know what kind of release it will be, but I will be seeing it. That's for sure. But it's just sort of nice to be back in the mix a little bit. I do love the food. Like I said, I got some wonderful tacos yesterday. Just trying to hit my spots, I'm probably going to get a bagel, like a good New York bagel, and
girl, I love it. I love it. I mean, Los Angeles has a lot of issues. What it is great at is neighborhood, food,
culture.
Friends, culture, art. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a great place.
Well, I'm actually going to, I'm actually going to do one very cultural thing. I actually was a little bummed because I didn't see any exhibits that I was super excited to go to at museums. It's kind of an off time, I guess. So there's this thing called Luna Luna. Have you heard about this? Luna Luna, no. Forgotten Fantasy?
No.
I don't know exactly what to expect, but if you go to the website, lunaluna.com, it's supposed to be this showcase of the world's first art amusement park, lost since 1987. And so it's all this art and okay, so here's what it is. So it started in Germany. And so this is the explainer on the website. The world's first art amusement park with rides, games, and attractions by visionary artists like Basquiat, Keith Haring, David Hockney. And by a twist of fate, the park's treasures were soon sealed in 44 shipping containers and forgot in Texas until now. So it's supposed to be this like fantastical fairground. And
that's kind of fun.
It's kind of cool. Yeah. Salvador Dali, like all these kind of fun, weird, like, art, sort of art installations and rides and games. And I mean, I don't know what to expect, but I'm going tomorrow with a friend and her kid. So we'll see. But yeah, that's a little bit of a little my cultural.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great, Heather.
It'll be cool. Listen to you.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
All right.
No, it will be. You know, that's the fun thing about being in a big old city. Many of you are not in LA, but you are also in cities and enjoy stuff, and you share those things with us. We really, really appreciate that. Speaking of sharing things
and appreciation,
yes, and appreciation, do join our Discord. If you are a person who is interested in Heather and Sarah's life, and everyone, also part of the fam, do go to patreon.com/havesuchagoodday. You can find out more about how to directly support the show, and Discord being part of that.
Indeed. And we tried to rally the troops in Discord to do sort of a play-by-play for the Oscars, but I think everyone's been kind of busy lately. Sarah and I had our own little back channel chat, of course, as we do. But y'all, we love talking to you. I open Discord in the morning. What the one thing that's I can't get used to with Discord though is you have to like actually open it. It doesn't stay open for me. Like Slack is always open. Discord, I have to kind of like log in and let it load and blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's
that's so weird. All right, I'll check my settings. But come join us, $5 and above per month. No big deal. That's how much my matcha latte cost yesterday. Actually, it was more like $6 plus $1 tip. So there you have it.
Right. Yeah. We'd love to have all of you. Thank you so much for being part of our fam.
Yeah.
Our fam. Yeah. With that, Heather, I think we're going to wrap up episode
230, Sarah. You already forgot.
230.
Yep. We're wrapping it up.
I mean, we've done so many.
It's hard to keep track,
y'all. I can't even remember. All right,
y'all.
230.
Stay weird, stay sexy, peace and love out there. Until next week, I will be Heather forever. Have such a good day.
Bye.